Well, welcome to the second video that's coming out. This is every Premier League club's best signing this season. I'm not sure entirely when this video is coming out. I assume it's probably the second one to come out, but it might not be. We'll find out. Well, you'll find out. I never will. Well, I will, but you get what I mean. Like I'm gonna stop talking. This is every Premier League club's best signing of the season. I'm going to rank them 1 to 20th. So, whichever club is in 20th, I think, even if that is the best signing, I think it's the weakest of the 20 clubs in the league. So, if your club is 20th or low or high and you don't like where it is, I, I don't care. I'm sorry. Wow, that was really mean, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. It was just shit. 20th is Liverpool because no one's been signed at this point. At this point in time, as far as I'm aware, Mamardashvili might be very close to be signed, but at this point in time, he has not been signed. I made this video, he has not been signed. So until then, they are 20th because they've literally signed no one. Not even a youth player. They've just signed no one. It's very disappointing, to the least. But I'm sure Liverpool fans are very upset about it. 19th place, but Nottingham Forest with Nikola Milenkovic. I don't like Nottingham Forest's business at all. I really don't like it. I think Milenkovic is the only one I'm like, I kind of think that's a good signing. The only other one is Stamenik, but I don't like how they've loaned him back. I don't like how they've loaned him out in general. I genuinely think he's good enough to be playing some games for Forest now. He's a very, very talented player, New Zealand international. Even though that name might not suggest that he is. He's actually, I think his name is Nikola Stamenik. I might be wrong. Anyway, Nikola Milenkovic is a very decent, talented Serbian centre back from Fiorentina. Very tall. I think he's 6'5", imposing. I think, as I say, out of Forest business, it's definitely the best of a bad bunch, and he's not necessarily bad, but it's not exactly a signing that fills me with like, oh my god, what a signing, what a coup. It's like it's pretty good. Fair enough. Anyway, it's definitely shouldn't be mid really. But I do rate him as a player. I think he's going to be a good signing for us. 18th, Jake O'Brien for Everton. This is mainly because I rate Jake O'Brien as a player, but I don't think centre back was a requirement, like a required position for Everton. And you may go, okay, yeah, but at the same time, Michael Keane exists, and I completely agree. He is terrible. But I feel like they should have tried to sign someone else, either someone younger or a free agent, and spent like the £20 million, which Everton cannot really spend much of. They can't spend much money. If you're going to spend £20 million, spend it on a probably either spend it on a striker, which they fucking desperately need. Even though to be fair, the striker market's kind of dead. I'm sure they could find someone or something. But then again, they did buy Beto last year, and that didn't work out. They might put them off signing a striker. They need one. You can tell by the way they're playing. They fucking need one. Um, but yeah. Maybe they, I guess in DA is that's right, but he's not very good. But Jake O'Brien as a player is a good signing. I think Tarkowski is a very decent centre back, and I think obviously Brantford's very good. I just don't necessarily see where he fits unless they play Brantford as a right back. But then they've got Patterson and Coleman who play right back. It feels weird. I don't know, but it's a decent signing, I guess. It's a weird one for me, slightly weird. 17th is Chelsea. I think Chelsea's transfer business has been awful, but I do like Philip Jorgensen as a player. I think he's a very decent goalkeeper. He's Danish international. Denmark's got a few really good goalkeepers. Pedersen, the Leicester one. I forget his name. I think it's Pedersen. Yeah, I think they were actually trying to get Pedersen, and then they Leicester wanted too much and went for Jorgensen instead. Got to get Danish goalkeeper, I guess. But he's a good player. I think he's the only Chelsea signing really where I'm going, he actually improves them. Everyone else they've signed is complete and utter shite, or just a wonder kid that's never going to play. It's just a bit depressing watching Chelsea's transfer business, to be honest with you. I'm glad they are doing as shite as they are in terms of transfers because I'm a Spurs fan, but even then, it comes to the point where it's like some of these youngsters are never going to see the light of day again, are they? I suppose that's true for wonder kids, but still it hurts a little. Anyway, Ipswich is 16th for Jack Clark. I probably could have put this lower down, but I like Jack Clark. I think he's a very, very talented player. We definitely mistreated him when he was here. We didn't really utilise him well enough. I don't even think we loaned him out. By all means, is a very, very talented player. Who will do well at Ipswich, I have no doubt. I mean, if Leeds had got promoted, he would have signed for Leeds, let's be honest. But Ipswich are a very talented squad as well. I don't think they're going to survive, but I think they're going to put on a show. I think having Jack Clark is one of those players. I think Jack Clark genuinely, I'm going to call it now, he's going to get 13 goals and assists in the Premier League, which you may go, well, that's not that crazy. For a team that's going to get relegated, is not awful by any means, and I think he's a very, very good player. Maybe not quite an England international in his future, but I think definitely a Premier League, mid-table Premier League player. I think he definitely would be a player like that for me. He feels like that kind of player. He really does. But I think it's a great signing. I would have gone for Jacob Greaves, but I do rate Jack Clark higher, even though they are very different positions. 15th is Fulham with Emil Smith Rowe. I couldn't rank this that highly, okay? I'm a Spurs boy. I can't be ranking an ex-Arsenal player. It's like the top of different players. I can't. It just doesn't work. I can't be doing that. But I will begrudgingly admit Emil Smith Rowe is a very decent player with good potential. He's not as young as people think he is. But he is still young enough to the point where he can grow quite heavily. Will he ever become an England international? Well, that's. I think he actually has been capped by England. I might be going crazy on that. Might be going crazy. I might be. I'm not sure. But anyway, Emil Smith Rowe. I think he's already scored for Fulham. I think he's going to do really well. Probably something like 15 goals and assists for Fulham. I think very, very good player for them. I still think they need a DM, but we'll see. Who knows? Maybe they'll do a bit more business. 14th Southampton with I don't want to butcher this. Yukinari Sugawara. I think it's Yukinari Sugawara. I don't know quite how to pronounce it, but that's the best I'm going to get probably. Japanese international, plays for AZ Alkmaar. He's a very interesting player. I think they bought him because they were expecting to lose KWP, because us and West Ham were both really interested. I still think we should sign him, by the way, but it's not really right now. It's not the point. The point is, Sugawara is going to be very good for them. I think they're probably going to be starting him. Very decent player. Young enough. I think he's 23 now. Got a lot of room to grow. And I think we're seeing Japan as like a nation, really. We're seeing them have a lot more proper talent come through. I think real soon I think genuinely, the next World Cup, Japan are going to do something special. We'll call it 2 years in advance, or 2 years behind. I'm going to say Japan are going to reach the semi-finals. I'm gonna say Morocco did it last time. Who knows? And arguably the Japan squad in 2 years is going to be a better squad than Morocco that Morocco squad was. I'm just saying. Anyway, this isn't about the World Cup predictions 2 years in the future. This is about Southampton right now. And Sugawara is a very good player. Southampton fans should definitely be hyped because he's very, very talented. And yeah, I think he's doing really well. 13th is Bournemouth with Francisco Evanilson de Lima. That is his full name. Obviously, Brazilian players usually use one name, but it's usually I think it's usually their first name, funnily enough. Yeah, because Alisson Becker. Even though, I mean, he hasn't gone for Francisco, he's gone for Evanilson, which is interesting. But anyway, I think he's a very decent player. Obviously played for Porto in the Portuguese league. Scored a lot of goals there. I think for a Solanke replacement, they could have gone much worse. They could have really gone on the cheap. And they didn't. They splashed a lot of that cash on a new striker and kept a bit of money as well. And I think he's going to be worth it ×2. He's got a lot of room to grow. He did come back from an injury last season, but it's not exactly that injury prone. I think he's going to be a very, very good signing for him. I think he's going to score, I'm going to say 17 goals, and he's going to get 2 assists. Very similar to what Solanke got last year. I don't think Solanke got an assist. He just got 19 goals. But anyway, I think Evan Nelson's going to be a really, really good player for them. I really do. We were linked to him before we were linked to Solanke properly. I think, funny enough, Bournemouth paid less than what we were linked to him as a prime, linked for like a £60 million option. They only paid like 39 million, so it wasn't that bad. But Bournemouth 12th, Leicester City. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of fucked this one up because I would have put Leicester lower, but when I put him in 12, because I realized like I hadn't done Leicester yet, I kind of I went on YouTube and I looked at quick at Abdel Fattah compilation in the Championship. He was fucking special in that half a season in the Championship. I know it's half a season, but still, he was really good. I think he's going to really do well for this Leicester side, who maybe are going to struggle a bit for me. I think he's going to be a bright spark. I think as soon as Leicester go down, he'll get a move away. And I think he's gonna have a really, really good year. Definitely going to get a lot of Ghana caps. And yeah, I think he's a very, very talented footballer. He's got a long, bright future ahead of him. Probably not Leicester City though, because they're shit. 11th is Arsenal. I couldn't put them high. I don't rate Calafiori that highly. I think he does seem more of like a social media merchant than he's actually as a footballer. Okay, look at this, right? Everyone on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all hyping this guy up because they've been told by analysts who watched Serie A that he was pretty good for Bologna. No one actually watched a single game for Bologna and then went, "Oh my god, Calafiori is actually good." I'm not going to sit here and say I did the same, but I think to judge him as like one of these more as a Maldini-esque sort of backup Maldini-esque regen is fucking crazy. But that's Arsenal in a nutshell. They overhype the shit out of their players. Regardless, Calafiori's fine. He's probably not going to start. I think Gabriel's not that good, but even then, I don't necessarily see him getting dropped. But then again, I didn't really see Ramsdale getting dropped, and they did, so who knows? Maybe. But I don't rate the signing that highly. I think it's a bit too much money as well. Wolves in 10th with Jorgen Strand Larsen. As I did watch a bit of that Chelsea game. The only Wolves player who looked competent in that game, I'll be honest. We don't need to talk about that Chelsea game. That didn't happen. Chelsea's still shit. That's the truth. And Strand Larsen, I think, is a very good player. I think he's going to get for Wolves, I'm going to say 13 goals and assists in the league. Which isn't terrible, isn't amazing by any means, but it's not terrible for a mid-table side. But I think they're going to activate the buy option. I think it's like £25 million, and he's going to shine next season. I think this season's going to be an adjustment period. He's going to score a few goals. He's going to look bright, but he's not going to exactly light the world on fire. They're going to sign him on a permanent, and he's going to do brilliantly. I'm not saying he's going to look like a golden boot challenge, but we'll wait for next season, and then I'll give my opinion on that if I'm still going with this kind of thing. 9th is West Ham. Many people may be angry at this. West Ham have had the best transfer window in the whole world, I thought. No, they haven't, let's be honest. West Ham have just thrown cash at a bunch of highly rated players who are linked to other clubs, but not necessarily anyone who was like truly like elite. They've signed great players. I'm surprised they've been able to sign like Tobito or, as I say, Guido Rodriguez. I thought it was nailed on for Barca. I'm surprised he hasn't gone to Barca. There's no shot that Barca didn't. The only thing I can think of was Barca pulled out and then West Ham came in. Because if he genuinely looked at both options and went West Ham's the better place, that's fucking crazy. This man needs to go to a mental hospital if that's the case. Because no one in their right mind should be picking fucking West Ham over the Catalonian Giants. There's no shot. Even I would not pick my own club over Barca. And I love my club. If I was a footballer, I would go for Barca. Well, if I was thinking about my career. If I wasn't thinking about my career, I'd go for Barca. But probably go for Spurs, but I don't know. Then again, Barca are broke. So I can't exactly blame them. They probably tried to pay him like £2 and a lifetime subscription to fucking Briggs. No way, that'd be the West Ham salary. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. Guido Rodriguez is a very, very good signing. He's the only signing for West Ham I'm genuinely surprised, apart from Tobito, I suppose. And I think he's going to be really, really good. Him and Edson Alvarez, probably playing like a double pivot would be brilliant. I'm not going to lie. But I think they've been overhyped this transfer window. I really do. And that's coming a bit, that is unbiased. I'm genuinely being serious. I think they've been overhyped. But it might not come off as unbiased, so I can understand that. Anyway, Brentford 8th, Seb van der Berg, I think is their best signing. It's him or Carvalho for me, but I do rate Seb van der Berg a bit higher. Not that Carvalho is bad by any means, but I think Seb van der Berg, if you look at that Mainz stint especially, last season, he was really good. You ask any Mainz fan, they'll tell you exactly how good he was. You look at any compilation or any clips, you just watch like a couple of the games. You don't have to watch him particularly very long, but his defensive awareness is brilliant. Decent passing ability. He's just a very, very talented young defender who I think will do really well. I don't necessarily think he's going to instantly start, but I think given enough time, he's going to be starting games over probably like Ben Mee. Because let's be real, Ben Mee's not that good. He probably won't get over Aya. Aya's actually, he's quite talented, but very quite talented. No, he's quite talented, but Ben Mee is a bit past it, let's be honest. Anyway, 7th is Newcastle with Lloyd Kelly. People don't understand how good he is. He's going to shine this year for me, Lloyd Kelly. He's going to show, I think genuinely, we could see Lloyd Kelly get an England cap this year. I'm being serious. I think if we don't, he'll be like close to when people will be asking for it. Maybe he won't get capped, but I think considering what I'm hoping is going to happen with England, there's a little tangent. Hoping what's going to happen with England is they're going to actually try to use some form of like unrecognized talent. I'm not saying drop Kane, fuck that, don't do that, but drop players like Foden, Rashford. I mean, maybe not Rashford, to be fair, that wasn't his fault, but drop him anyway, and bring in young players, or maybe not even young, but players who aren't necessarily as experienced. Play a few friendlies and make the message clear that you want to have players who are going to play well for the national team, because like reputation isn't going to cut it anymore. Foden was shite at the World Cup. Sorry, the Euros. He was terrible. He was really bad. I mean, Saka, I can give a pass to. He wasn't that bad. But most of that England team didn't look like they really cared. The only players who actually looked like they were making an effort was Gehi, Pickford, probably Saka, and Bellingham partially. Bellingham 100%. Yeah, let's be honest, Bellingham 100%. But look, Lloyd Kelly, going back to it, is a very, very decent player. I know we were linked to him. I think he would have been a really good backup player, but I think he's chosen right with Newcastle because he's going to get more minutes. Guaranteed starter at left back minimum, and I think he's going to do really well. I really do. Anyway, 6 is Man United. Leny Yoro probably would be higher if he wasn't injured. I do think he is a talent, but I think we need to give him a little bit more time in a harder league before we officially call him like one of the greatest young centre backs ever. Because he was really good for Lille. I'm not saying he wasn't, but you need to calm it down a little, because the Ligue 1 is probably the biggest pretender league I've ever seen. The quality of that league, besides the top like 5 clubs, is awful. It really is. It's genuinely, I would call it championship standard. Most of the Ligue 1 clubs are championship standard. Only a few are Premier League standard. PSG not even that good either as well. I mean, they've lost all their Galacticos now. They're not really that good anymore, to be honest. But they do have money, so that's one bonus. Anyway, Leny Yoro, good player. I think will hopefully come back from injury and do well, but I do wonder a bit how they're going to plan for it. Is he going to start over De Ligt? I doubt it. It feels a little bit bizarre, because why have they signed De Ligt as well and Leny Yoro? You'd think some form of like competition is going to arise, but who knows? Maybe they'll work it out and they'll be happy for it. I don't know. I don't really care about Man United, to be honest. 5th is Crystal Palace, Daichi Kamada. I think I said it in my Prem predictions video. I think he's very, very good video. God, I've been doing this for a while. I'm sorry. I think he's a very, very good player. I think he's going to be really good for Palace this year. I don't know if I predicted the Prem predictions video, but I think he's going to get like 15 goals and assists this season at a minimum. Probably more than that, but at a minimum. Very, very talented player. You're going to see why. And again, it's just showing how good Japan's like national team is getting. I'm really impressed with Japan's national team, man. They look like they've got some fucking ballers. You gotta remember, like, Kubo as well exists. Like, come on, he's amazing as well. 4th, Brighton, Matt Swifer. Pretty not actually self-explanatory. It's the least self-explanatory one of the whole thing. I just think he's a very, very talented DM, to be honest with you. I think his Feyenoord stint, he was really, really good last season. I think he's a really good controller of the ball, and he has enough physical capabilities to the point where he's not completely hounded. And I think he's going to fit Brighton really well. I really do. I genuinely think he could be one they're going to sell on for like 60, 70 million in a couple of years. Like Atletico Madrid or some shit, who knows? Maybe like Chelsea or something, actually, when they give up on Caicedo. They probably won't do that because they won't give up on £100 million players, but someone like Liverpool or something, I don't know. I do think he'd be worth it though. I don't think he's actually going to flop if he leaves. Third is us. Look, I wanted to put us as high as possible, but I also do believe Archie Gray is a phenomenal talent. I find it quite funny actually. Him and his brother, although his brother is playing in the under levels right now, he's meant to be really, really good. He's a young striker, very different profile, but he's meant to be really good as well. We're not talking about his brother anyway. Archie Gray is a very, very talented player. He was really good in the preseason. Bissouma coming back has made it a bit interesting to see where he fits in. If Bissouma keeps up this form, he's not exactly going to be starting. But if he has enough patience to sort of bear with not starting every game, as long as he doesn't get fussy about it, as long as he sort of not necessarily keep quiet, but keep on training well, playing well when you come on the pitch, I think it's a matter of time before he starts for us, like properly, week in, week out. I think Europa League would be really important, get a lot of minutes for the youngsters, but Archie Gray, I think, is a phenomenal talent. I think by the end of his career, he will, for me, be classified as the greatest English defensive midfielder in Premier League history. Period. Second is Man City with Ilkay Gundogan. I think you know who's number one, but first I'm going to talk about Ilkay Gundogan for a second. How the fuck has this happened? This came out of nowhere. Barca apparently just said, fuck off, we're not paying you or something. I don't know, I don't really care. They brought back Ilkay Gundogan. I mean, that squad is good enough already. They will win the league without Ilkay Gundogan. But with Gundogan, I guarantee you this is not going to be close. Man City are going to win it bar 10 points. 10 points is going to be the gap, I promise you. What a player Gundogan is, no question asked. He could definitely play till like he's 38, to be honest with you. He's that kind of Modric. Not exactly like Modric, but he has that, I feel like he's got that longevity like Modric. Because he's not necessarily ever been that reliant on his pace, which is really important for a long-lived player, really. And then first is Aston Villa, Amadou Onana. Enough said, probably the second greatest DM in the league. I don't even care. Declan Rice isn't that good. Fuck off. I don't care. Anyway, Declan Rice, from what I've heard from the Arsenal fans, isn't even a DM anyway, so I don't know why that matters. So it's technically true enough. Anyway, Amadou Onana, very good player. Obviously, at Everton, very decent form, good season. Definitely at the wrong club for a while. Club wasn't at his level, but obviously he's a Belgian international starter. Whereas Belgium aren't necessarily the greatest national team anymore. I still think that's reputable enough. And I think he's going to shine at Aston Villa. I really do. I think he's a very, very good signing for Villa themselves. Anyway, that is the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you next time. One more thing, if you follow my Twitter, if you come here and you haven't followed my Twitter yet, please do, because I care about my Twitter more than I care about this. Well, maybe not. I care about them equally. They're both my, I don't say children, because that's kind of fucking weird. I care about both of them, but I am much more active on Twitter, so if you care about that, then look at my Twitter more. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye.